3 American presidents died on Independence Day, and a fourth one was maybe poisoned that day. In this video, we will look at the deaths of every American president who died on Independence Day or whose death had a direct correlation with Independence Day. Welcome to the Washington History Show. And it's already difficult to say with which American president we start because the first two died on the exact same day, and it was the 50th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. In their active time, both presidents saw each other as competitors, as rivals. Later, they had a rather friendly relationship. Still, one of them had the last words. He still survives. What he didn't know, he already died a few hours earlier. Of whom am I actually talking? I speak about Thomas Jefferson and John Adams, second president John Adams and third president Thomas Jefferson. Both were important figures in the American Revolution. Both died exactly 50 years after the Declaration of Independence. Thomas Jefferson had health issues for many years and finally died in 1826, 4th of July, at the age of 83. John Adams died at the age of 90 years because of heart failure. Died in 1826. He stayed the oldest president in American history until 2001. The next American president who died on 4th of July was James Monroe, exactly 5 years later. After his presidency, he had financial issues for a few years, and after his wife's death in 1830, he firstly moved to his daughter in New York City. The cause of his death was tuberculosis together with heart failure. I also read something about malaria, and indeed it is assumed that James Monroe suffered of malaria for many years, but it is not his official cause of death. With Monroe, not just the 5th American president died, but also one of the last big names of the Revolutionary War. 3 American presidents died on Independence Day, but a fourth one has a direct correlation with Independence Day. Zachary Taylor, the 12th American president, actually died a few days after Independence Day, but yes, his death had to do with Independence Day. Zachary Taylor, acting president in 1850, took part at the Independence Day celebrations, and therefore he spent several hours in the summer heat. As the event was over, he ate large amounts of fruits paired with large amounts of ice milk. Probably it was a reaction out of panic because he had spent so many hours in the heat. But in the end, it was this reaction that actually killed him. Only a few days later, he died because of massive stomach problems. His reaction caused a gastroenteritis that killed him in the end. And with that, for the second time in American history, an acting president died. But was it really the reaction that killed him? Taylor had announced that he would use his veto against a legislative proposal. His vice president, Millard Fillmore, who became president after his death, accepted that law. The political situation and the fact that his opponents, the supporters of this law, were quite glad about his death led to the assumption that Zachary Taylor wasn't killed by his reaction. Is the truth that Zachary Taylor was murdered? It wasn't sure, and the theory became quite popular in the 1980s. An autopsy was made in 1991, and the theory was refuted. The theory was that Taylor was actually poisoned, for example with an apple, and that this actually caused his death, and not that his body simply couldn't take his reaction. And to be honest, I think it's quite fascinating that over 100 years later it is still possible to find out the cause of death in an autopsy. I know there are those cases such as Ötzi, for example, but yeah, if you know how this works out, because I'm not an expert for this, let me know in the comments, please. And if you are also as fascinated in American history as I am, I suggest you to subscribe to the channel, to leave a like, maybe to check out this video here, and I say thank you for watching.